Hello, my dear friends. I'm still Benjamin Okwir, welcoming you to the next lesson. And as usual, I would love to take you always to the correction through the correction of the previous work. And we had simple instructions given like this: use the correct form of the word in the brackets to complete the sentences. Jamila always cycles to school every morning. As simple as that. Number 2, Jamila cycled to school yesterday. Yes, past tense. Number 1 was testing everyday tense. Then number 3 says, Usain Bolt is the world's fastest runner of all, We use superlative degree, fastest. And check the spelling as you write. Next, of the 2 athletes, Kiprotich is the faster. We remember comparing only 2. If we're talking about only 2, we use faster in that comparative degree. Yeah, then we have this instruction saying, use the words in the bracket to complete the sentences. Yes, the words in the table to complete the sentences. And the words are here: fast, quick, and rapid. Okay, the numbers are here. The doctor said that the patient would make a quick recovery. Yes, not rapid. This is used to refer to how something is done. Yes, then she has been rapid. There has been rapid crime. Yes, there has been rapid crime rate in the past weeks. Yes, there has been rapid crime rate in the past weeks. And the last number says, how fast were you going? Yeah, referring to the speed, yes, in terms of movement. How fast were you going? Those are the expected words, dear friends, and I hope you got them right. If you saw different numbers, please make necessary corrections as quick as possible. It's high time I took to the work of today. Yes, we're at that point. Want to know now in terms of structures. How best can I use these words? Yes, in a structure form. Like I've said, we want to look at the usage of while alongside the words we've been learning. Use of while. Yes, we want to look at while used within the space. What does this mean? Use of these dashes or ellipses. What does it mean? This means that some words will be put here before we get to the word while, and after writing the word while, even other words will still come after. That's the language we're going to use for now. Then we are saying this word while is used for joining words, yes, and to join words of 2 actions. Like I've said, this joins words of this joining word is used to join 2 actions which were taking place, okay, at the same time. 2 actions taking place at the same time. Yes, like for right now I'm teaching and you're there learning. Yes, 2 actions taking place. Now, we want to learn also into details. When it is used within the sentence, remember there is no comma applied. No comma is applied. When you use the word while within the sentence, we don't use while. Then, when we use that word in the beginning of the sentence, then we apply a comma at the end of the first phrase. Take note of that, dear friends. Take keen information on that. Now, after looking at that, want to look at the examples. How can we learn through examples? Example number 1 says, the driver was driving. Okay. The conductor was collecting fare. Okay, 2 actions taking place. The driver was driving. Remember, it is in the past. The conductor was collecting fare. We are now asked to join these 2 phrases using while. Okay, we need to say the driver was collecting fare while the conductor was collecting fare while the driver was driving. Okay, that's the right answer. The conductor was collecting fare while the driver was driving. You realize that in the first phrase, we end in a full stop. Then another phrase starts in a capital letter. So when we join these 2, we shall make 1 sentence. And so we shall expect only a full stop at the end of the sentence. Now we shall say the conductor was collecting fare. In place of a full stop, we bring in the joining word, while. Then we change this T, a capital, into a small letter. Because we're coming up with only 1 sentence, so we shall say the conductor was collecting fare while the driver was driving. Okay, we can also say while the driver was driving, the conductor was collecting fare. Now, like we said, the moment we begin with this joining word while, we put a comma at the end of the first phrase. Yes, while the driver was driving, the conductor was collecting fare. That is it, dear friends. I want us to learn yet another number. Yes, another sentence, still using the word while. Like I said, we were traveling. The pastor was preaching in the bus. Okay, two things happening. There's traveling ongoing, there's preaching ongoing. So in this kind of sentence, we can join using while. Okay, and so how best shall we say this? We shall say, the pastor was preaching in the bus while we were traveling. Yes, the pastor was preaching in the bus while we were traveling. Now you realize that traveling has been ongoing. Then this pastor starts preaching. And we refer to that moment where he was preaching and the traveling was also ongoing. So we shall say, the pastor was preaching in the bus while we were traveling. You realize that? And if I may ask, of the two, which one started to take place? Though at time T, they were all taking place. You realize there was traveling, then this man gets up to begin preaching. So I strictly refer to that time of preaching and driving. That's what I'm referring to. So I'll say, the pastor was preaching in the bus while we were traveling. Yeah, like that, dear friends. Hope you've got that point clearly. Like I said, while we were traveling, the pastor was preaching in the bus. While we were traveling, the pastor was preaching in the bus. Now, again, you realize that traveling seemed to have started taking place. Then this one joined afterwards. But we don't consider that past time, though it is important. We now refer to that moment where two things were happening. Yes, that's when you say, while we were traveling, the pastor was preaching in the bus. As simple as that, dear friends. Now, if that is done, dear friends, I'm believing that you can do a few numbers here. Look at this number. The conductor was issuing tickets. Okay? The passengers were boarding the taxi. I want to first mention this. Are you able to recall those words we learned as our new words? Have you seen some, like for this number? The conductor was issuing tickets. Yeah, I can see the word conductor. It was one of our big words. I can see the word tickets. Yes, it's one of our big words. I can see the word passenger. Yes, I can see the word board. Yeah, taxi. Okay, and so on and so forth. So here is the day-to-day conversation. The conductor was issuing tickets. The passengers were boarding. Two things happening at the same time. So we can join these with the help of while. How best can I put the answer? Okay, first give yourself a try. Say it. Yes? Wow, this is what I have for you. The passengers were boarding while the conductor was issuing tickets. That's the answer. The passengers were boarding while the conductor was issuing tickets. Yeah, remember the passengers came to board. So in the process of boarding, this man was giving out tickets. So we end up saying the passengers were boarding while the conductor was issuing tickets. Like that. Or we can also say, while the conductor was issuing tickets, the passengers were boarding the taxi. Okay? Yeah, you realize that I have left some words in number one. The passengers were boarding. What were they boarding? They were boarding taxi. Don't let it miss. The passengers were boarding the taxi while the conductor was issuing tickets. That's what I'm missing. The passengers were boarding the taxi while the conductor was issuing tickets. Then another one says, while the conductor was issuing tickets, the passengers were boarding the taxi. Remember not to leave this word the taxi because it was described. This taxi was described. It was in the question, the taxi. So we end up saying, while the conductor was issuing tickets, the passengers were boarding the taxi. I want also to take your attention to the word tickets. Ticket was not having the word the. It was not identified as definite one. So we only say, while the conductor was issuing tickets, don't bring in the word the. While the conductor was issuing tickets, the passengers were boarding the taxi. That is how best we can answer. Then we're saying other conjunctions with the same nature include, these are words you can use in place of while. We have the word when, as, and whereas. So I can say, the passengers were boarding the taxi when the conductor was issuing the tickets. We can also say, The passengers were boarding the taxi as the conductor was issuing tickets. We can say, as the conductor was issuing tickets, the passengers were boarding the taxi. We can also say, whereas the conductor was issuing the tickets, the passengers were boarding the taxi. Yeah? Whereas the conductor was issuing tickets, the passengers were boarding the taxi. So this word can be used in place of while. Don't forget that, dear friends. But we shall always restrict to the instruction. When they ask us to use while, don't use when. Use what is given, what is asked for. Look at these few examples like everyone have been giving. The driver was driving, the conductor was collecting fare. We shall say the conductor was collecting fare as the driver was driving. Also say, as the driver was driving, the conductor was collecting fare. We can also say, the conductor was collecting fare when the driver was driving. We still mean the same. We can also say, when the driver was driving, the conductor was collecting fare. You realize that these words are used the same way, and they are used on this kind of setting. Two actions taking place at the same time. Yeah. Hope you have understood, dear friends. It is good to know that you have understood, and we need to know yet another word. The conductor was collecting fare, whereas the driver was driving. Okay, let's begin by saying whereas. We shall say, whereas the driver was driving, the conductor was collecting fare. Yes, whereas the driver was driving, the conductor was collecting fare. That's how we should speak, dear friends. Let's practice this with other statements, other sentences as well, dear friends. That's what we call learning. At this moment, let me give you some simple activity. Okay? Join the sentences below as instructed in the brackets. Okay? That one comes number 1. Okay? I have this word. The passengers were boarding. The passenger was boarding a bus. The driver was sleeping. Use dash 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 while dash dash dash. Okay? Yeah? Ignore this space. Wonderful. Next number says, okay, take a quick attention on that. And that will make me very happy to realize that you have understood. Please restrict the instruction given only if they have asked to use the word while, use while. If they have asked to use the word whereas, please answer based on the instruction. Hope you have understood that, dear friends, and you're okay with the instruction. Still other numbers come. Which numbers? Sharing with you has been very amazing, dear friend. And this now brings me to the end of this lesson. I can't wait to share with you another time. Stay blessed. Stay blessed. I pray that the Almighty keeps you forever and ever. And we all say, Amen and Amen. Bye-bye.